Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, November 28th, 2023. Today we're going to recap last night's Monday Night Football game. It was not a good game. Then we have college basketball, NBA, and NHL to go over. Look at tonight's games in each sport. We have soccer. We have Survivor to discuss from last week, and then news and notes. Monday Night Football was where we'll begin. Like I said a couple seconds ago, not the best game in the world as the Chicago Bears get a 12-10 win over the Minnesota Vikings. The MVP of this game was the Bears kicker, Cairo Santos. He was the MVP of this game. Bears are 4-8, Vikings 6-6. So just a terrible loss for the Vikings. If people are still in their survivor pools, they probably took Minnesota. I would have considered them, but I would have definitely taken them if it was Tyson Bagent instead of Justin Fields. But who knows if that would have changed the outcome of the game. And in Pittsburgh and Denver, to me, were others because they were playing backup quarterbacks. So Chicago gets the win. Matt Eberflus, his first win against an NFC North opponent, which is a wild statistic I heard. And then, obviously, Minnesota. It looks like the honeymoon for Dobbs is over as they go into their bye, and Kevin O'Connell's talking about a quarterback change. So, we'll return to talking about the NFL on the Thursday podcast when the Cowboys host the Seahawks, and we'll make a pick for football. Okay, now I'll move on to college basketball. The slate from yesterday was not as big as the slate that will be taking place tonight. The Wednesday slate's humongous. The Thursday slate is not as big as Wednesday. So I'd say the Thursday slate is probably smaller than tonight's slate. I'll put it that way. So results from yesterday. Oakland over Xavier, 78-76. Bad loss for Xavier. Number 4, UConn over New Hampshire, 84-64. Bryan over Springfield, 108-74. Rutgers over St. Peter, 71-40. Eastern Kentucky over Troy, 77-76. UConn over Presbyterian, 82-79. Fordham over Manhattan, 93-61. Wisconsin over Western Illinois, 71-49. UMBC over Hampton, 80-76. Arkansas Pine Bluff over Arkansas Baptist, 85-60. South Dakota State over Mount Marty College, 92-70. Utah Tech over Lindenwood, 73-66. Northwestern over Northern Illinois, 89-67. TCU over Houston Christian, 101-64. Louisiana over Loyola, Louisiana, 78-74. Or 54, my bad. Omaha over York College, Nebraska, 104-68. Weber State over Navajo Tech, 107-45. Santa Barbara beats Fresno State, 69-65. So Fresno loses a bye game. San Diego State over Point Loma, 71-51. Washington State beats Eastern Washington 82-72. Utah beats St. Mary's 78-71. And San Jose State beats North Dakota State 78-65. All right, so there's more interesting games tonight, obviously. So 6:30 tonight, you have Bob Jones-Winthrop. We can skip that. Big Ten Network, Georgia Southern, Michigan State. So Michigan State is no longer ranked. My line is Michigan State by a whopping 56. Don't worry, guys. The line changes will start taking place come the Friday podcast for college basketball and the NBA, too, for that matter. And we have 28.5 and 141.5. I'm going to lay the big wood with Michigan State. Bounce back spot. All right. 7 o'clock, ACC Network, number 21, Mississippi State, Georgia Tech. This is new, the ACC SEC Challenge. I wish Duke, Kentucky were playing each other, but that's unfortunately not the case this year in this. Mississippi State I have as a 17-point favorite, and it's 8.5 and 139.5. I'm going to lay the number with Mississippi State on the road. Spalding, Miami of Ohio, we can skip. Cincinnati, Howard, I have Cincinnati by 9 And it's 10.5 and 150.5. That's a hard one, but I'm going to say the under because I think that total's high. Southern Illinois, Indiana State. My line is State by 29, and it's 7.5 and 145.5. I'll lay the points. And how about this? Missouri Valley is starting conference games tonight, so there's a big one in that conference. As you say, Furman. I have Furman 27.5, and it is 20.5 and 166.5. I'll lay the points. Charleston Southern and the Citadel. My line is the Citadel by 3. And it's 5.5 and 134.5. I'm going to take Charleston Southern to cover. Southern New Orleans against Southeast Louisiana. We can skip. William & Mary, Norfolk State. I have William & Mary by 4, but it's Norfolk by 3.5. Total 142.5. Give you William & Mary plus the points and plus 148 outright. Western Carolina and Tennessee Tech. My line is Western by 20 on the road. And it's 5.5 and 140.5. I'll lay the 5.5 gladly. Wagner Providence on Fox Sports 1. My line's Providence 42.5. And it's 21.5 and 125.5. I'll lay the points. Rider Maryland. My line's Maryland 23.5. And it's 16.5 and 131.5. I'll lay the points with Maryland. They need the games. Notre Dame, South Carolina. My line's South Carolina by 8. And we have 7.5 and 132.5. Over. Or here's another one, the SEC ACC Challenge on ESPN2, LSU Syracuse. My line's Syracuse by 16. It's only 1.5 and 149.5. I'm laying it with Syracuse. It's a game that they probably have to win. And then here's a good one. Number 8 Miami at number 12 Kentucky. So at least Kentucky is playing somebody good. It's a game that Kentucky absolutely needs to win. And they are a team that is under immense pressure. I have them as a 1.5 point home underdog to Miami. And it is Kentucky by 6.5, total 164.5. So I'm going to take Miami plus the 6.5 and plus 215 outright. I just think Miami is ready for this. Also at 7:30, Ball State, Little Rock. Mountains, Ball State by 4. And it's Little Rock 2.5, total 153.5. Give me Ball State plus the points, plus 116 outright. Northwestern State and Yale Monroe. My line's Yale Monroe by 5. And it's 6.5 and 142.5. I'll gladly take the over. Another SEC ACC Challenge game on ESPNU, Missouri Pitt. My line is Pitt 11.5, and it's 6.5 and 148.5. I'll lay the points of Pitt. Eastern Illinois against number 5 Kansas. We'll go over the AP poll in news and notes. I have Kansas by a whopping 60.5. And it's 38.5 and 142.5. I'll lay the points. Nichols against number 9 Baylor. I have Baylor by a whopping 37. And Baylor is giving 26.5. Totals 154.5. I'll lay with Baylor. We can skip Missouri Baptist, SIU, Edwardsville, Waldorf College, South Dakota, East-West against Southern Indiana. We can skip all those. Next up, Chicago State and Loyola Chicago. My line is Loyola by a whopping 43. And 17.5 and 141.5. I'll lay the points. Utah State against St. Louis. My line is St. Louis by 15. And it's Utah State giving 6.5, total 146.5. That's just biased towards the Mountain West for no reason. Give me St. Louis plus the 6.5 and plus 235 outright. Concordia, St. Paul, North Dakota, we can skip. Oral Roberts, Kansas State. My line's Kansas State by 20.5. And it is 14.5 and 154.5. I'll lay the points. McNeese, UAB. My line is UAB 10.5, and it's 6.5 and 143.5. I'll lay the points. Next up, 8:30 Big Ten Network, Texas Southern, and the new number one, the Purdue Boilermakers. Mine's Purdue 43. It's 31.5 and 137.5. I'll lay the points. Jackson State, Arkansas State. My line is Jackson State 7.5. I know it's wrong because I've misevaluated that team. Arkansas State 7.5, total 152.5. Give me Jackson State plus the points and plus 290 outright. I mean, they got to come through at some point. All right. 9 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, Southern against number 3 Marquette. My line's Marquette 44.5. And it's 31.5 and 151.5. I'll lay the points. Next up, Cal State Bakersfield against number 11 Gonzaga. My line's Gonzaga 40.5, and it's 28.5 and 141.5. I'll lay it with Gonzaga. University of the Southwest New Mexico State, we skip. Next up, ACC SEC Challenge, NC State Ole Miss on ESPN2. My line is Ole Miss by 7. And it's 2.5 and 146.5. I'm going to lay the points in Ole Miss. With Chris Beard at the helm, they're unbeaten right now. It's a big one tonight, obviously. 9:30, ESPN, Clemson against number 23, Alabama. Undefeated Clemson, 1-loss Alabama. I feel like people would be thinking, oh, it's a college football matchup. Nope. It's college basketball. Mine's Bama 2.5. And it's 9.5 and 159.5. Give me Clemson to cover, but not win. That's just a high number. Next is Akron UNLV at 10 o'clock. My line is Akron 6.5, and it's UNLV 3.5, total 137.5. Give me Akron plus the points and plus 140 outright. Next up, Portland State. My line's State by 2. And it's 2.5 and 154.5. I'll go with the over. Don't feel strong about it, though. Pac-12 Network, UC San Diego and Washington. My line's Washington 21.5, and it's 14.5 and 151.5. I'll lay the points. And last but not least, Idaho State Pepperdine. My line is Pepperdine by 15, and it's 7.5 and 140.5. I'll lay the points with Pepperdine. Okay, now I'll move on to the NBA. We will recap the games from yesterday, and we have a larger slate tonight because it's in-season tournament. I think it's the last night of group play. Wizards over the Pistons, 126-107. Blazers over the Pacers, 114-110. Sixers over the Lakers, 138-94. Holy crap, they got blown out. LeBron, they both played. And they got their asses kicked. Great win for the Sixers. Jazz over the Pelicans, 114-112. And the Nuggets over the Clippers, 113-104 without Jokic or Murray, which is impressive. And I thought the Nuggets were the right side in that game, but I didn't think Jokic was going to sit. All right, group play. Last night of it. All right, 7:30. We have from the TD Garden, East Group C, Bulls Celtics. My line is Celtics 14.75, total 221. And it is, I was reading the wrong line. Celtics by 13.5, total 218.5. I almost said Bucks. Because I was looking at, I saw green. All right, so I'm going to take the over in that game, a rare over. Group C, Raptors Nets. My line is the Raptors by a quarter, total 227 and a tenth. And it's Brooklyn 1.5, total 224.5. I'm going to take the over again. Although the Raptors outright's fun as well. Group A in the East, Hawks Cavs. My line's Cavs by 5, total 234 and a 20th, and it is 4.5 and 238.5 under. Bucks Heat on TNT. That's the game of the night. I have Bucks 5.5 total, 227 and 3/4. It is 3 226.5. I'm gonna lay to 3 with the Bucks, although I think there's a possibility Miami wins outright, and I just don't trust my number. Hornets Knicks from the Garden, Group B. My line is Knicks 11 total, 225 and 19/20, and it is 12 and 221.5. I'll gladly take the over because Charlotte stinks defensively. New Bucks Heat's obviously Group B as well. All right, West Group C, Thunder Timberwolves. My line's Timberwolves 3.5 or 3 3/4 total, 225 and 7/20, and it is 3 and 229.5 under. T-Wolves defense is really good. 8:30 Rockets Mavs. That is West Group B. My line is Mavs 5 3/4, so 225 and 17/20, and it is 4.5 and 228.5 under. Rockets defense is very good. And last but not least, 10 o'clock TNT, Warriors Kings. This is also Group C in the West. My line is Kings 4.5 total, 229.5. And it's 1 and 236. I'm going to take the under. Only because that total, in my opinion, is too high. I just want to look at the in-season tournament standings real quick. So, where things stand, Pacers have clinched Group A. Detroit's eliminated. Group B, Washington's eliminated. And then you have 3 teams with a shot. So, if Miami wins outright, New York can conceivably win Group B depending on their point differential. Toronto and Chicago are eliminated. And then Group C, Orlando's in the driver's seat right now. Oh, wait, this isn't the last day of group play, it looks like, because I don't see the Magic on here. Okay, so that's right. You play 4 games. Never mind. It is the last day of group play. They're just finished with their games. So Boston has to win big tonight against the Bulls to pass Orlando. So Boston can win it. Brooklyn can conceivably win Group C, which is crazy. Imagine both the Knicks and the Nets winning their groups. Lakers clinched Group A. They went 4-0. Utah, Portland, and Memphis are eliminated. So Phoenix can get a wild card. The Group A in the West is done. Group B, it's either going to be New Orleans or Houston. Denver is eliminated, which is crazy. So that parlay I did is not going to play out. And then Group C is either going to be Sacramento, Golden State, or Minnesota. And Minnesota was my bet to win that group that I made. So we'll see what happens in group play, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. All right, the NHL. Look ahead to tonight's games, but we'll recap last night's games first. Sabres over the Rangers, 5-1. I am so mad at myself for not pulling the trigger on that pick. I just was afraid, and guess what? It happened. I had a feeling the Rangers are going to be a little sleepy after that Boston win. Panthers over the Senators, 5-0. Jackets over the Bruins, 5-2. Avs over the Lightning, 4-1. Flames over the Golden Knights, 2-1 in OT. And the Sharks over the Capitals, 2-1. Bad loss for Washington. That result is good for the Rangers that happened. All right, big window tonight. 7 o'clock, you have the Panthers against the Maple Leafs. Great game in the Atlantic Division. Leafs are -140. The Panthers are +116 over under 6.5. Over is -115. Under is -105. Panthers +1.5 is -200. Leafs -1.5 is +162. Over. Islanders Devils, a big game in the Metro Division. Devils -162. Isles +134. Over under 6.5. Over is +104. Under is -128. Isles +1.5 is -176. Devils -1.5 is +146. I'm gonna go with. This is a tough one, but I'm gonna go under on the Islander goals. Under 2.5 at +106. 7:30 on ESPN Plus and Hulu. Hurricanes Flyers. Not a bad game. A better game than it looked before the year. Canes minus 162, Flyers plus 134, over under 6.5, overs plus 106, unders minus 130. Canes minus 1.5 is plus 146, Flyers plus 1.5 is minus 178. I like the over plus money. 8 o'clock, Penguins Preds. Both teams are 10-10. Pens minus 113, Preds minus 108, over under 6.5, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Pens plus 1.5 is minus 275, Preds minus 1.5 is plus 220. I'm going to go with the Predators at home, minus 108. Blues Wild. We'll talk about the Wild in news and notes. They're minus 160 favorites. The Blues are plus 132, over under 6.5. Overs minus 108, unders minus 112. Blues plus 1.5 is minus 178. Wild minus 1.5 is plus 146. I like the under, but I don't feel good about it. Stars Jets, a very good game in the Central Division. The Jets are playing good hockey, but the Stars are favored minus 120. The Jets are even money, over under 5.5. Overs minus 130, unders plus 106. Dallas minus 1.5 is plus 198. Jets plus 1.5 is minus 245. I almost wanted to pick the Jets outright at even money, but the under has more value at plus 106 rather than the Jets outright at even money. Kraken Blackhawks at 8:30. The Kraken are minus 192. The Blackhawks are plus 158, over under 6.5. Overs minus 102, and there's minus 120. Kraken minus 1.5 is plus 126. Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 152. I like the over. 9 o'clock, Golden Knights Oilers. Oilers playing better with the interim coach, or their new head coach, Chris Knobloch, I should say. Oilers minus 150. Golden Knights plus 125, over under 6.5. Overs minus 112, unders minus 108. Vegas plus 1.5 is minus 192. Oilers minus 1.5 is plus 158. I'm taking Vegas outright plus 125. The Oilers get too much favoritism in the betting market because of Connor McDavid. Lightning Coyotes. Lightning minus 120, Coyotes even money, over under 6.5. Overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Bolts minus 1.5 is plus 190. Coyotes plus 1.5 is minus 235. I'm taking the over. And last but not least, 10 o'clock, Ducks Canucks from Vancouver. Vancouver's minus 240, Ducks plus 195, over under 6.5. Overs minus 122, unders even money. Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 118. Vancouver minus 1.5 is minus 102. I'm going to do Vancouver puck line minus 1.5 at minus 102. Okay, now we'll move on to soccer. We have results to go over. And we have Champions League today, guys. How about that? All right, so we'll start with EPL from yesterday. Fulham over Wolves 3-2. La Liga from yesterday, Girona and Athletic 1-1 draw. Serie A from yesterday, Verona Lecce 2-2 draw, and Bologna over Torino 2-0. And now we'll do Champions League. We're still in group stage. So 12:45 this afternoon, Shakhtar and Antwerp. This is Group H. Neither team is very good in this league so far. This time around. Shakhtar's minus 110. Antwerp is 3-1. The draw's plus 260. I'm going to Shakhtar at minus 110. Lazio and Celtic. This is Group E. Lazio minus 180, Celtic plus 490, draw plus 320. I like the under at plus 118. 3 o'clock, Young Boys and Red Star. This is Group G. Young Boys plus 110, Red Star plus 230, draw plus 270. We'll go with the draw plus 270. PSG and Newcastle. This is Group F. PSG minus 150, Newcastle 4-1. The draw is 3-1. I'll go with the draw at 3-1. Milan and Dortmund. This is Group F as well. Milan plus 110, Dortmund plus 250, draw plus 250, and go with Milan at plus 110. Man City and RP Leipzig. This is Group G. Man City minus 320, Leipzig 8-1, the draws plus 470. For this one, I'm going to do over 3.5 goals at plus 126. Two more, Feyenoord and Atletico. This is Group E. Feyenoord plus 150, Atletico plus 180, draw plus 240. I like the draw plus 240. And last but not least, Barcelona and FC Porto. Group H. The two best teams in this group so far. Barcelona minus 230, Porto 6-1, the draws plus 360. I just don't trust Porto. So for here, I'm going to go under 2.5 goals at plus 130. I think Barcelona will get it done like 2-0 or something like that. We also have championship games too, ELC. So today, 2:45, you have Cardiff and West Brom. I'm just going to pull up those odds real quick for English Championship. Cardiff 2-1, West Brom plus 140, draw plus 210. West Brom's playing well. I like them plus 140. Coventry Plymouth. Coventry minus 170, Plymouth plus 390, draws plus 310. I'm going to go over 3.5 goals plus 138. Hull and Rotherham. Hull's minus 260, Rotherham is plus 650, the draw plus 350. I'm going to do under 2.5 goals with even money. Borough Preston. Borough minus 170, Preston 460, draw plus 280. I'm going to say over 2.5 goals at minus 106. QPR and Stoke. Stoke plus 140, QPR 2-1, draw plus 220. I'm going to go Stoke plus 140. And last but not least, 3 o'clock, Watford, Norwich City. Watford plus 110, Norwich plus 230, draw plus 240. I'm going to take the draw at plus 240. All right, now we're going to talk about last week's episode of Survivor. It was an interesting episode, to say the least. So this started right out the gate that Kendra wanted Dee out for going against the Girls Alliance, and then Bruce was devastated when he heard that Kelly had been targeting him. Tree Mill the next morning instructed the players to divide into 3 groups and hinted at panic and anxiety, which really made Austin give one of his idols to Julie, which was nice. So the Reward Immunity Challenge, the teams ran this challenge in stages. In the first stage, the players went across 2 balance beams holding a ball on a disc before retrieving 3 ropes from a sand pit. And the last place team would be eliminated from the challenge, and all 3 lost their vote, having to go on a journey to try and earn it back. In the second stage, the players did an obstacle by hooking the ropes in front of them and then tossed 3 balls onto a target. And the first team to land all 3 balls won a trip to the sanctuary with roastery chicken and the right to compete for individual immunity. And then in the final stage, the players had their arms outstretched with fingertips bracing 2 discs. And if a disc dropped, you're out. And the last one standing won immunity. So The teams were Austin, Emily, and Katura, Bruce, Julie, and Kendra, and Drew, Dee, and Drew, Dee, and Jake. Drew, Dee, and Jake. So, Austin, Emily, and Katura were the first team eliminated, and then the runners-up were Dee, Jake, and Drew. Bruce, Julie, and Kendra won the reward. And then, for the second week in a row, it came down to Bruce and Julie for individual immunity, and Bruce came out on top for the second week in a row. And then, at the journey, you had to solve a math problem to earn your vote back. And that was the panic in this. If you lost the challenge, then you lost your vote, and you had to earn it back by solving a math problem. You had to figure out with all numbers 0 through 9 to equal 100. And you can only use each number once. And then there's like plus, minus, division, multiplication signs. Austin earned his vote back, and Katura and Emily did not. But Austin lied to his tribe mates outside of his little alliance that he had failed. But he came clean to Drew and Julie and Dee. Wait a minute, but they only showed him telling Drew and Dee. I didn't see him telling Julie, which was weird. Julie probably knew, though. And then at camp, Dee wanted to vote out Kendra upon realizing that she was targeting her. But most of the tribe wanted to stick with the safe vote and send home Jake. But at tribal council, the votes were 6-1 Kendra, as Kendra was the latest person voted out of the show. That's 9 out, and now she's in the jury with Kelly and Caleb. That's sad. She was my winner pick. But she blew it herself. Let's be honest. She was running her mouth about how she wanted Dee out. That cost her. And if she wasn't keeping her mouth shut, then Jake probably goes home. And not her. But at the same time, what also hurt Kendra was that Emily and Katura lost their votes. And I don't think either of them would have voted for Kendra. And Emily is a strong voice in this game to the point where I think she would have convinced everyone to vote for Jake. So I think Emily and Katura losing their votes hurt Kendra big time. Because they wouldn't have voted her out. Those would have been 2 votes for Jake, and maybe they could have flipped a couple more. Maybe it would have been 5-4 Jake. And they could have gotten 2 to switch. Maybe, who knows, Mama J could have flipped. Because obviously she's mad at Jake because Jake wrote her name down. And then maybe they could have gotten Bruce to flip, for what we know. And that could have been 2 flip votes for Jake. So, yeah, that really hurt Kendra. And I'm sorry to see her go, because I thought she had a good chance to win. Obviously. So, best move of the episode, Bruce winning immunity again, because if Bruce didn't win immunity, I think he would have been potentially voted out. He's in trouble. Worst move, obviously Kendra running her mouth and wanting Dee out, because that cost her. If she wasn't running her mouth, she'd be still on the game. Best moment of the episode, I really loved Kendra ramping up speculation about Austin and Dee being in love. Maybe they're this season's version of Franny and Matthew. So you got to keep our eye on that. And then worst moment, I didn't like seeing Emily and Katura losing their votes. I really wish they got their votes back. Or else maybe I'm bitter because Kendra left. But, yeah, I felt bad that those two lost their votes. And I think Emily's a significant voice in this game. My new winner pick is Mama J. I love Julie. She, to me, is the female version of Gabler. She's a leader. Everybody loves her. And I think that she could take over the game. Next out, Bruce. It was either him or Jake. But I think it's going to be Bruce because he won the last two immunities. And I think it's time. If it's not Bruce, then it's going to be Jake. Immunity, I think, is going to be Drew. I think Drew is due to win individual immunity. He's a strong player. So I think that Drew will win individual immunity. And honestly, I would be somewhat surprised if the next person voted out isn't Bruce or Jake. I mean, maybe it's Dee, finally. Maybe they realize Austin has an idol and he gave the other one to Julie. Maybe they blindside him. I'd be stunned if Drew went home. I'd be astounded if Julie went home. But I think it's anybody's game right now. I really do. I mean, I think Bruce can win. I mean, the one person that I'd be surprised if they won would be Jake. But it's going to be a really interesting episode tomorrow night. That's for sure. Okay, news and notes time. We have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of new tidbits coming our way. So, their team's eyeing Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr. as the Jays are receiving calls for top players. Are the Blue Jays, not trying to win? I'm shocked that that's coming out. I thought the Blue Jays would have been more aggressive this offseason. Or maybe they realized that those players are flawed in some ways. I mean, Vlad certainly, but I think Vlad's their franchise player and is the reason why they are somewhat relevant. I mean, Bichette too, but Vladdy's a fun character to have in this game, and Bichette's a great player too, so I'm shocked that those two are kind of available. But the case for them blowing it up is if they lose Chapman, they don't get Ohtani, they don't get any other players, so they decide to blow it up and rebuild, and that's a golden opportunity for a team like the Yankees to turn around and trade for Juan Soto, and maybe they sign Yamamoto or Bellinger, maybe both, who knows? And then they're all of a sudden the favorites to the AL East. Over Tampa, who won't have Wander Franco or Shane McClanahan next year. Boston, who is a mess and doesn't have any pitching. And the Orioles, who might regress because they had the dream season last year and took advantage of the Yankees being bad and the Blue Jays underachieving. And the Rays kind of fell apart after their hot start. I mean, not that the Orioles were bad. The Orioles are certainly a really good team, but they need pitching. And if they don't get pitching, then the Yankees might win that division next year. So we'll see what happens with the Blue Jays. So we talked about this on the podcast yesterday. Sonny Gray's gone to the Cardinals on a 3-year, $75 million deal. So St. Louis is revamping their rotation, trying to bounce back from a disastrous year last year. They added him. They added Kyle Gibson. And they added somebody else, too. So I'm interested to see if the Cardinals do anything to improve their offense. Not that their offense was bad last year, but I think their offense needs to be better at certain positions if they want to compete for that division crown with the Cubs, who I really think are a real threat to sign Ohtani. Maybe the Cardinals sign Ohtani. Ooh, that would be insane. So the Cubs, speaking of the Devils, and the Reds are eyeing Tyler Glasnow and Shane Bieber in trade talks. I think that Bieber is the safer bet. I know he's been hurt a lot. I mean, Glasnow is, to me, always injured and would be on the IL a lot of the year. So Glasnow is risky depending on what you give up. But Bieber, to me, is a safer bet. And I had Bieber going to the Cardinals before the offseason, but that looks unlikely now with them signing Gray and Gibson. I'm trying to think of who that third pitcher was that they signed. But we'll see if one of those teams lands Bieber or Glasnow. And I have Glasnow going to Texas. The MLS team of the season was announced. So we have Roman Berkey of St. Louis, Matt Miazga of FC Cincinnati, Walker Zimmerman of Nashville SC, Tim Parker of St. Louis, Thiago Almada of Atlanta United, Hector Herrera of Houston Dynamo, Ani Mukhtar of Nashville SC, Luciano Acosta of FC Cincinnati, Chucho Hernandez of the Columbus Crew, Dennis Powango of LAFC, and Garigos Gakamakis of Atlanta United. So congratulations to those players. And MLS MVP goes to Luciano Acosta of FC Cincinnati. 17 goals and 14 assists on the season. Some of this Patrick Kane to the Red Wings, 1 year, $2.75 million. Good on the Red Wings for picking up Kane. I think he'll really help that team. They need offense. So I think it's a good fit for them. And the funny thing is that's going to reignite their rivalry with the Blackhawks a little bit. We talked about how Kevin O'Connell might consider a quarterback change. So we talked about the Minnesota Wild earlier. They fired Dean Evason and assistant Bob Woods. That's somewhat surprising. Slow start. Not rumored to happen, so that kind of came out of nowhere. And replacing Evason, John Hines, the former Devils and Predators coach. We'll see how that goes. I'm not a big John Hines fan. I thought he really only had one good season with the Devils. And he wasn't that great with the Predators. So we'll see how that works. How about this? Speaking of open jobs, the Panthers, we talked about firing Frank Reich. How that happened yesterday. So Pat McAfee had Adam Schefter on his show yesterday, and Adam Schefter says he sees many coaching firings, says he predicts 7 to 10 coaching changes this cycle, which is insane. I can name a couple. I mean, we already have the Raiders and the Panthers. Washington, maybe Dallas. Definitely the Chargers. Maybe the Jets. Maybe Buffalo. So that's 7. I mean, maybe New England. I don't want to say, of course, New England, but maybe New England if Bill decides to retire or whatever. So that's 8, but if you take away the 2 that happened in season, it's down to 6. So there could be more that I am not seeing coming. I mean, I don't think McVay's going anywhere. I think Dayball has quieted the 2-and-out rumors. Not that there were any rumors, but there was probably some chatter among Giants fans. So I think Dayball's going to be back. I mean, maybe I'm trying to think of a good one that be. Oh, Eberflus. That's another one that's probably going to happen. I mean, if the Lions lose in the wild card round, could Campbell be fired? Maybe. So we'll see. Austin Reeves said they beat the shit out of us after the Sixers won by 44 points last night. We talked about Jokic missing that Clippers game. CJ McCollum might be back tomorrow or Friday after missing time with a small lung collapse. So Greg Olson is eyeing the Panthers job, apparently. That would be another Jeff Saturday, Antonio Pierce situation. The Raiders cut Marcus Peters as the team saves $1.5 million in incentives that Peters was set to earn. That could be a guy that can help a contender down the stretch. I mean, could Dallas sign Marcus Peters to kind of replace Diggs? Derek Barnett picked up by the Texans after being waived by the Eagles, so that's a nice pickup for Houston. Another decommit for Deion Sanders and the Buffaloes. Running back Jamaris Wilder. That's not great. Will Howard enters the transfer portal. 67 touchdowns, 25 picks. And he's on the Maxwell Award watch list. So that's not great for K-State. We'll see who lands him. Dan Mullen denies Syracuse rumors as he posts on social media that he won't be joining the Orange. So Delaware will be going to the FCS for the 2025-26 school year, as it will become the first program to pay new application fee with its move to Conference USA. So good for Delaware for embracing it, and that's a school with their programs, their sport programs on the rise in the FCS. Mike Elko has an 8-figure reason for Texas A&M to win it all, as he has a $10.5 million college football playoff incentive. So the winner of the Pop-Tarts Bowl will celebrate by taking a bite of first ever edible mascot. Oh my God. Giants opened a quarterback in the first round, as Joe Shane says the Giants are considering all options in the NFL draft. That's the right thing to say, especially after this season. And they have the assets to trade up, because that Seattle pick is getting better by the day. The Knicks re-signed Jalen Martin, 2-way deal, and waived Dwayne Washington Jr. Shota Imanaga was posted, 2.77 ERA in Japan this year, linked to the Yankees and the Dodgers earlier in the year. We'll see. Maybe he's a Cody Senga type of pitcher. And then the college basketball AP poll is out. I want to go over that very quickly. 1 through 5. Purdue, Arizona, Marquette, UConn, Kansas. So Kansas drops from 1 to 5. 6 through 10. Houston, Duke, Miami, Baylor, Tennessee. 11 through 15. Gonzaga, Kentucky, Florida Atlantic, Texas A&M, Creighton. 16 through 20. Texas, North Carolina, Villanova, BYU, Colorado State. Villanova should be out of Carolina because Villanova beat them head-to-head. But it's nepotism towards Carolina with some of these voters in the media that probably went to Carolina and know the boosters and all that. And good for Colorado State and BYU for making the rankings. And at 21 through 25, Mississippi State, James Madison, Alabama dropped 6 spots. Illinois and Oklahoma. Others receiving votes: Memphis, San Diego State, Colorado, Ohio State, TCU, Michigan State, Auburn, UCLA, Princeton, Arkansas, Iowa State, Florida State, Liberty, USC, Nevada, Virginia, Clemson, Ole Miss, Nebraska, South Carolina, Cincinnati, Kansas State, Bradley. And Bradley's undefeated in the Missouri Valley right now, so I noticed that the other day. Then dropped from the rankings, Colorado, Arkansas, Michigan State, USC, Virginia. The big riser, Florida Atlantic, after winning ESPN events. But it was really Villanova who was unranked and went back to the rankings after winning. Was it Battle for Atlantis they won? Yes, they won Battle for Atlantis. And BYU's ranked now, which is awesome. And so is Colorado State. And the biggest drop was obviously Creighton, because they lost to Colorado State. All right, so there you have it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow morning recapping everything. Look at that, everything tomorrow. We have the portfolio to do tomorrow now that yours truly will be back in a legalized betting state. And then we have the Hero World Challenge, as we have to make a pick for that. So a lot of interesting things coming on tomorrow's podcast, and I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.